we are going to proceed to go through now how to use Packet Tracer working with Cisco and see how to basically set up your a router in a very basic way for here in Chapter 11 in Cisco 1. For those of you that may be watching this in other Cisco classes, 2, 3, and 4, particularly in 2, is going through an introduction of how Packet Tracer works and what you'll do with how to do Packet Tracer and how to get your Packet Tracer file that is preset for you to be able to do your labs on. So the first thing we will do is go to the curriculum, which is on your screen, and then we will choose the chapter, just like you're already used to. We're doing Chapter 11, the first lab in it, so I'll go to Chapter 11, Launch Course, and the course will launch. And as you know, since you've already used the curriculum before, it takes a little bit to load the curriculum right here. And we'll have that in just a second. And then we will choose Index down here on the bottom left, and then we'll choose the Labs button up here on near the top, and then we want the first lab, so I'm going to choose it, 11.5.1. And then the lab comes up, the first page to it. There's a 1 and a 2 here. The 1 says there's a regular one to do on the regular equipment, and 2 is the one for doing on Packet Tracer. You won't always have 2s on labs here, only if they've developed a Packet Tracer file to go with it. The Packet Tracer file that they've developed to go with it includes instructions on how to do the lab. Sometimes something has to be changed because it's on Packet Tracer, not the real equipment. And 2, that they've already got the equipment and sometimes the wiring sitting in there done for you, and you're just having to do the configurations. In the case of this lab, they're going to have the equipment already sitting in there for us, but we're going to have to wire it and then configure the devices. So we will click a 2. It changes the screen. The big thing changes. It says click on the Packet Tracer icon instead of the lab icon, and the icon right here changed. That's the Packet Tracer icon. So I will click it. I'm using Vista, so it comes up with a warning telling me that it's not allowed to be downloaded unless I grant permission. So I will tell it, go ahead and download the file. I'm going to save the file, except for I've already downloaded and saved it, so we're not going to bother to go through and spend the time it takes to download at this point. But you would download it, and then you could either open it at that point, or you could go to it and open it, and it would open in Packet Tracer that you should have already downloaded and installed on your machine. So we will go out of that, and we're going to go over and go to the file, and I'm going to open it because I put it on this drive, and there it is, Cisco 1 Chapter 11 demo. I'll double click it, and it will open in Packet Tracer. And Packet Tracer starts up. We're using version 5.3 for this demo today. And then I'm going to maximize the Packet Tracer file on the screen, and this is the board for where we put our equipment, and we're going to wire everything together and work with it in here. So this is, and this will actually be, and so they gave us a PC, 3 PCs to work with, a switch to work with, and a router to work with. We also have a second file that opens at this point in Packet Tracer, which is the instruction file, which they call PT activity. And I'm going to maximize it so that you can see the whole thing. And right now it says our completion is 0%. That's an important number to note down at the bottom. When you get complete with the whole lab, you should have 100%. When you get in Cisco 2, 3, and 4, that's how I'm going to grade these labs, is based on the number you get there, unless there is a problem with that lab, and there are a couple of those that you cannot get to 100%. There's a check results right here. We can click that, and it will tell us what percentage we've done, and also tell us of the things we've got to do, which things we've done and which we haven't done. And reset activity puts it back to the way it was when it started in the very beginning, so it just restarts it. You probably won't use that one. And then here's an arrow to go to the next page of the activity. There are 6 pages in this activity, or to go to the previous one. The first page of the activity here is they've given us an address, and they want us to subnet it. they give us an IP address of 198.133.219.0, which is a Class C address, and then they want us to borrow 4 bits for our subnets. So that will leave us 4 bits for our host, which means that we start from the 16. Now we're going to use the 0 subnet, so they start from 0 here, and that's our first subnet, which will be 198.133.2.0 for the subnet, 198.133.219.1 for the host, 198.133.219.14 for the last host address, and 198.133.219.15 for the broadcast address, and then they all work through from that. So you would do that. This is a PDF file, so you can't do the work on here unless you happen to have the full PDF file available to you. Ignore any little pop-ups that may appear in here. I am recording this live on my PC, and sometimes email might pop up on us down at the bottom. I'm not sure if that will show on you or not. I'm also in my office, which is an open office, and we could have a disturbance occur during it of somebody asking me a question or whatever. So now I'm going to go to page 2, and first thing it tells us is to physically connect our devices. It says connect the console or rollover cable to the console port of the router. Well, they left one little piece off of that instruction right there, as they forgot to tell us to connect it to the PC when we hook that up, and so it will hook up to the serial port on the PC. So I'm going to flip over to my packet tracer activity file. I'm going to now go and choose a cable. So I will choose this one, which is connections. This one, if you notice down at the bottom, it says console. So if I choose this one, it's the console cable. This is the straight through, this is the crossover. So I choose the console cable, come up here, and I'm going to connect it to this PC. So I connect it on there, and I'm going to go to the RS-232 or serial port. Now I'll go across to the router, and I want to connect to the console port there, so I'll click on the router and click console port. It's now connected. So now I'll go back to the activity to see what the direction says next, and it says connect the crossover cable between the host computer's network interface card and FA00. So back to the actual file. Now I want a crossover cable, so I'll choose a crossover cable. I want to go from the PC to FA00. So I choose that one. Now back to the directions to see what's next. It says now connect a straight through cable between FA01 and any of the switch interfaces. Now if they tell you a specific interface to use, you've got to use exactly that. If they tell you how to type something in, you've got to type where it's words that get saved out there, you've got to type on exactly the same. Upper and lowercase is significant. So now I will go back and connect a straight through cable from the switch. So now I'll choose the straight through cable, and I'm going from FA01,